everyone, I'm back after many nights of thinking, so, let's start from the ending of episode 11 first. 1. In the preview of episode 11 we saw Bong-Yi singing the song Hide and Seek, and it turned out that the song was intended for Hoon-sok, or his cousin, and this scene takes place right before Bong-Yi, Deok-soo's fight scene in the bush. So, it's a kind of trick or bait that the director does to trick us. There is a scene that is omitted and will be revealed in episode 12. Bong-Yi decided to invite Hoon-sok to his house. It's a bit shivering plus worried. Now, when Bong-Yi clears the drain, we will see his face change. Yes, this is what Daniel meant by switch. This switch will occur when Bong-Yi is faced with a situation which he doesn't like. The trigger is the thing that makes him feel noisier when he sees or hears Johan's delusions. After that, Bong-Yi finds Hoon-sok who was hiding in the cupboard until he fell asleep. The cell phone in front of Hoon-sok rang, whether it was from his mother or his nanny. This is somewhat suspicious. In that scene he uses a spanner. I'm sure what he hit was not Hoon-sok but the ringing cell phone, because at the time of the beating there was no blood spurting out. Don't be fooled by him the last time. The last time we thought Mochi was dead, in the scene when Bong-Yi looks like hitting Mochi, but it turns out that Bong-Yi is beating his own hand with a rock. As we know, Bong-Yi always triggers when there is a noise, and when he hits the cell phone using a spanner, I think his attention was broken by a call from Hongju, so maybe after that, Bong-Yi went to find Deok-soo. The question is, Deok-soo took off his electronic anklet and running away, right? The bracelet is on a truck headed out of town and the police track down Deok-soo according to the bracelet. Then how can Bong-Yi and Bong-Yi know Deok-soo's accurate location? 3. So how did Bong-Yi know that place? He who was at home holding the spanner, suddenly just moved locations while carrying the cutscene spanner. There is a possibility that the place where Yuna was kidnapped was the same as the place where Bong-Yi was kidnapped before. Because according to Daniel, Deok-soo will definitely commit the same crime again. Hence, Bong-Yi knows where Yuna is at that time. Well, Bong-Yi is solved. Now it's just Bong-Yi. How does he know that place? From Bong-Yi? From Hongju? Or from Mochi? The genius Bong-Yi knows the place because he previously flipped through Bong-Yi's documents at the police station after he sees Deok-soo being exposed to Bong-Yi on the street. Bong-Yi, who is genius, has started to like Bong-Yi and becomes hypertensive, and from here he starts planning to kill Deok-soo. Bong-Yi starts to find out what happened in the past. By the way, this is the first time he's seen Bong-Yi's file. After that, Bong-Yi makes up his mind to kill Deok-soo. Like what Daniel said, Bong-Yi starts exercising, buying equipment. Well, look at that. He can afford a car. It could be that in the past he was also able to buy a car but where the car was hidden. 4. By the way, before the love transplant operation, the world knows that Bong-Yi is a cosplay, pretending to cry. The tears that he shed when he watched Hanguk's broadcast were all he was showing to show Imo who was behind him. When Halmoni died, he cried awkwardly. What's more, Muwon looks really awkward. So, get ready. As Seung-ji said in the special episode yesterday, the ending of this drama is a tragic ending. The most incomprehensible part of Bong-Yi's actual behavior is when he asks Bong-Yi to marry him. Like he doesn't understand what kind of trauma Bong-Yi has. This shows that he has never identified Bong-Yi's past or trauma. More specifically, we know Bong-Yi is always traumatized when it rains, and has to go through the bridge. Now Bong-Yi doesn't seem to have detailed the Kang Deok-soo case or incident, and Bong-Yi's trauma. He only understands from Halmoni that Bong-Yi is like that. I see. Then when Bong-Yi asked Bong-Yi to marry her, Bong-Yi was a bit buffering too. Whereas Bong-Yi meant to ask Bong-Yi to get married, so that Bong-Yi felt safer, and it just so happened that her condition at that time was down. Well, Bong-Yi doesn't understand Bong-Yi's original meaning. He thinks maybe Bong-Yi is convinced of getting married, because she really likes him. Yes, even though Bong-Yi really likes him, but the reason she asked to marry Bong-Yi is not that. Several days Bong-Yi is sure to get married, whether he knows what Bong-Yi means or not. 5. When Bong-Yi opens Bong-Yi's file at the office, Bong-Yi feels sad and empathetic, right? It is very visible if you are sad, angry, even crying. Well, his cry just looks natural when Bong-Yi shed tears over the pain and injury suffered by Bong-Yi, and this is called empathy. This happened after Bong-Yi received Johan's love. At that time the Jung Man-bok case was like that too. Bong-Yi looks sad about what happened to Jung Man-bok, whose son died because of Woo Young-chul. In particular, Bong-Yi, who was originally a psycho, did not have any empathy or sympathy with the suffering of the victims. The scene of him crying when he sees Bong-Yi's file becomes a very important scene, where he feels the pain of the victims, and the anger and sadness of their families. Isn't that the purpose of this drama? Choi Ran wants to see a psychopath who cannot sympathize with the suffering of these victims, regret his actions, sympathize, punishing other psycho-criminals. 6. After buying tools and putting tools in the trunk of the car, Bong-Yi goes to see Kang Deok-soo. But apparently, he found Deok-soo was foaming at the mouth. That's where he'd think that, if Daniel is wrong, a psychopath can repent, and even write a letter of regret. So, Barim, who was mistaken, finally brought Deok to the hospital to be saved before proceeding to the Yunna's case. Maybe not many people would realize that Deok didn't kill himself, but he wanted to be killed by his mother. His mother also wrote the will. This is not a drama that can be taken in after a second. There is a clue that is lost. We know that all this time Ms. Deok has been suffering because of Deok's actions, suffering physically or mental stress. So, he secretly gives medicine to Deok. If we look in more detail, the letter that Deok said was written, and the statement of his mother gave to Shinseng, we can see that there are some misspelled words. Meanwhile, if we look at the message Deok sent to Bong-Yi, it looks like Deok's spelling skills are not bad. So, the letter was most likely written by his mother.